Throughout the entirety of aviation history, there have always been those rare instances of an aircraft accident, and even less frequent than those would be the mysteries surrounding airplanes that seem to disappear, leaving little or no trace of their existence. We've compiled a list of 5 other occurrences of flights that seem to have vanished without a trace. At number 5 is Pan Am Flight 7. This was one of the first airline flight disappearances that sparked a massive search and rescue, but to no avail. Flight 7 involved one of the most advanced airliners of its day, the double-decker Boeing 377 Stratocruiser. This particular airplane was named the Clipper Romance of the Skies by its operating airline, Pan Am. On a November morning in 1957, Pan Am Flight 7 set out on its round-the-world flight that began in San Francisco. However, once the aircraft had reached past the halfway point on its way to Hawaii, the airplane and its 36 passengers were never heard from again. In the following weeks, one of the largest search and rescue operations was performed, but other than a few bodies and a few pieces of floating wreckage that were recovered, the airplane has never been seen since, and no official cause was ever determined. Number 4. Air France Flight 447. In the final analysis of this crash, it was determined that iced-over pitot tubes, which give airspeed indications to the pilots, caused the autopilot to disconnect. The crew then reacted incorrectly and inadvertently put the Airbus A330 into an aerodynamic stall, which caused the aircraft to plunge from 38,000 feet all the way down to the ocean's surface within just 3.5 minutes. In the following week, small parts of the wreckage were recovered. However, it would take nearly 2 years for the rest of the aircraft to be found, and for the cockpit and flight data recorders to be finally recovered. Number 3. Amelia Earhart. Following in the footsteps of famed round-the-world aviators like Wiley Post, Earhart set out in 1937 to do a 29,000-mile flight that began in Oakland, California. However, it was the leg over the Pacific Ocean on their way to Howland Island that would be the last time Earhart was ever seen. Over the next 3 weeks, a massive search and rescue operation was conducted by both the United States Navy and the Coast Guard, but it turned up no definitive leads. For the past several decades, many different theories have been hypothesized as to what actually occurred. Speculation of a crash landing into the ocean or on numerous deserted islands have never come to fruition, and Amelia Earhart's crash has the legacy of being one of the most widely known within the public spotlight. The next disappearance is just as intriguing, and it's that of the Navy's infamous Flight 19 that occurred within the Bermuda Triangle. On a navigational training flight in December of 1945, 5 TBM Avenger bombers disappeared without a trace into the open sea. An official investigation noted that the flight leader's magnetic compass had most likely failed, and with the other 4 aircraft operating by following the leader, it's speculated that the airplanes drifted further northeast into the Atlantic Ocean, never to be seen again. In the recent decades since the lost flight, several expeditions have been made off the Florida coastline, but none of the 5 aircraft of Flight 19 have ever been recovered. And finally, at number 1 is the curious case of an entire Boeing 727 airliner that was stolen from its based airport in Africa. Just over a decade ago, a former American airline Boeing 727 was seen by air traffic controllers taxiing to a runway for takeoff. However, this airplane never made any official radio contact with any air traffic facility. The aircraft took off for the Atlantic Ocean and has never been seen since. Coincidentally, an aircraft mechanic assigned to work on the airliner went missing the same day the airplane did, and according to the US State Department, was believed to be the individual at the controls. These vanished flights are just a few of the more memorable examples of aircraft that took off never to land again. But with advances in satellite imagery and GPS location devices, hopefully flights that might go missing in the future will be discovered more efficiently.